Have you ever wondered why our inner world constantly oscillates between opposites like black and white, joy and sorrow, good and evil, male and female, up and down, yin and yang? In this final episode, Ganesha guides us into the profound concept of desire's duality, thus unlocking its hidden treasures. Namaste, I am Sunder Iyer. Welcome to KYG Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam.
Om Ganganapataye Namaha.
We talk of multiplicity of thoughts. We talk of a multitude of emotional feelings. We talk of infinite number of words that can be uttered. We talk of a wide range, almost infinite capacity to imagine. But have you ever wondered that all of this lies within two extremes of good and evil, or up and down, or black and white, or rich and poor, or beauty and ugliness, yin and yang? Everything that we can think, everything that we can imagine, everything that we emote and feel, our reality around us is simply based on a spectrum of human thoughts that lie within this paradigm, the paradigm of two extremes. And oftentimes we are drawn towards one extreme, then we withdraw from that, we are drawn towards the other extreme, rarely able to balance and moderate in between. In this final episode, an offering to the Lord within, the powerful Lord Ganesha, we explore and understand the rear two hands of Ganesha, which he uses to guide us. What do these two hands signify? In the Ganesha Atharva Shisham, it is clearly defined what he carries in these two hands. Ekadantam chaturhastam pashamankushadharinam. On the one hand, in the rear hand, he carries pasha. On the right rear hand, he carries the ankusha. What is pasha? In the left rear hand, he carries a lasso. And on the right rear hand, the ankusha is a goad, an instrument with which the elephant Mahut prods the elephant forward. A sharp spear, if you will. So the lasso and the goad become powerful symbols of the rear hand. There is only another deity in the Indian pantheon of gods and goddesses that carry the lasso and the ankusha. And that is his mother, the Parashakti, the supreme energy principles, the mother that also uses the lasso and the ankusha. I discussed this in the playlist where we studied the Devi Khadgamala. But nevertheless, since Ganesha is the son of Parashakti, that means he embodies everything that the supreme Parashakti, the supreme energy of the universe embodies. He also carries the lasso and the goad, the pasha and the ankusha. What is the role of a pasha? A pasha is something that you put across and you hold and you pull back. Like a lasso, the whole purpose of a lasso is to stop a cattle from going astray, and you put it on the neck and you hold it back. You restrain, the power to restrain. The ankusha, on the other hand, the goad, is to prod something forward. Perhaps the elephant is hesitant to go in one direction. Perhaps the Mahut wants the elephant to go in a particular direction. He uses the prodding stick, the goad, if you will, to prod the elephant. The mighty elephant is prodded with a small little stick. He prods it forward. So the function of these two are contrary in nature, like the two extremes of our thought spectrum. And that's where we're coming to with this analysis. One is pulling. The pasha The lasso pulls, restrains you. The ankusha, the goad, pushes you. So it's a push and a pull. Who does it? Ganesha does it. What is the significance of this push and pull? What is he pulling? What is he pushing? The best way and the simplest way to understand it is understanding the two extremities of human thought and emotions. What are these two? The Sanskrit terms that I used to explain this in the Upanishads and the Vedanta is raga and dvesha. Raga and dvesha. Longing and loathing. Longing, craving, desiring intensely, incessantly. That is raga, longing. And the other end of the spectrum is loathing, dislike, repulsion, hating. So you have longing and loathing, like and dislike, attraction and repulsion, longing and loathing, raga and dvesha. These are the two extremes within which we make our choices, whether it is choice of people we like or dislike, and all of the multitude of ranges, almost infinite number of ranges in between likes and dislikes, whether it is a color we choose, a food we decide to eat, a thought we entertain. It's always in the past or in the future, and anything in between. It's black or white and all the colors in between, because black is simply absence of color and white is inclusive of all colors, and colors are all a spectrum within black and white. The idea of good and evil, two extremes, God and the devil, and all the rest, all ethics, all morality, all values, everything is the infinite number of thoughts we entertain in between. It is always between these two extremes. And therefore, longing and loathing is the basis of our thoughts, within which we get caught. And we define reality caught in this eternal pendulum swing, if you will. Eternally swing from one extreme to the other. Raga. What is so wrong in longing for something? Or what is so wrong in loathing? It is neither wrong nor right. Because if we get caught in the wrong and right, we'll again get caught in these extreme pendulum swings. But let us understand why we refrain from longing and refrain from loathing. Why we need to refrain ourselves from things we crave for, and why we need to go towards things that we dislike. Ganesha refrains you from things that you long. Incessant craving. He refrains you. He puts a lasso, the pasha, and he pulls you back. No, no, my dear, not so fast. Don't intensely crave for this. Stop craving. On the other hand, when we say, I don't like this is bad, this is this and that, we call upon judgments immediately and we run away from things, then Ganesha prods us, says, no, go ahead, accept that situation. However difficult it is, go. And so he prods us and pulls us, teaching us how to balance between these two extremities. Why is it so important? What is the drawback in longing and loathing? We have so far understood this enormous universal energy that lies in our subconscious, in our own unconscious, deep within, in the Muladhara. So in that context, when you understand, when we long for something, oh, I wish I had this beautiful home. Oh, I wish I had this beautiful spouse or handsome spouse. Oh, I wish I had this plenty of money. I wish I had this comfort. I wish I had this. There is not simply a wish or a desire, but that desire multiplies and gathers momentum and invariably goes into a longing, a state of craving. So that one step of that desire is achieved and the next desire comes, and it goes on and on, like we have the versions of iPhones and the different versions of Samsung phones and I have version 4, I want version 5, I want version 6, I want the latest version, and the next and the best versions, and so on. It seems never ending. What does this impact? How does this impact the subconscious? Through longing, we create a state of eternal dissatisfaction. Extremes. I'm talking of two extremes here. So when we long, we are planting seeds of dissatisfaction. If I long for a TV so much that when the TV comes, I will not be happy with the television or the TV. I use the TV as an example simply because it's easy to comprehend. We long for a television so much that longing becomes the reality. Our dream television never really arrives. Because even if the best television does come into our home, there will always be a better one waiting for you out there to satisfy you. Why? Because you have planted the idea in the subconscious through longing that I wish I had a better home. I wish I had a better television. I wish I had a better spouse. What does that mean? So when the best of spouses come into your life, when the best of persons walk into your life, when the best of relationships presented to your life, you have created a subconscious reality of not being satisfied with that, and you yearn for something better. That is the danger of longing. That is the danger of craving. Craving never ends. Right now, when you close your eyes and say, for me to be truly happy, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conditions to be met. Then I will be happy. So we are putting up conditions and we are longing for those conditions to be met in order to be happy. Guess what will happen? Because longing becomes reality in our subconscious, when those conditions are actually met, we are looking for better conditions to be fulfilled in order to be happy, and thus we will never experience true contentment and true happiness. Think of habitual worry, for example, extreme worries. People are always worried. I have an aunt who worries for everything. When her son was in college, she worried that he should study well. If he doesn't study well, what will happen? And then he studied well. But she worried he should get a good job. What if he doesn't get a good job? He got a very good job. Then she worried that he should get married. And what if that wife doesn't turn out good? He got an amazing family. But she is now worried about their children. And he just worried and worried. And one day when everything was fine, I asked her, why are you still worried about? She says, what if this beautiful setup of his life, this environment of happy family, great job, everything is going fine, but I'm worried it may not last long. There is no end to worries. There is no end to this extreme longing. So we create this reality that happiness is out there. In a condition being met, then my happiness comes. So longing is looked down upon. Baba would use a Telugu word for this, and it's kind of incorrectly translated into English as desire. But in Vedanta, looks down upon craving. It does not look down upon desires. It's not wrong to have desires. Don't feel guilty if you have a desire, because that is a desire to grow, a desire to be happy, a desire to be fulfilled is not wrong at all. But craving, the word that he would use was korikalu. Korikalu means incessant craving, not desires. It's incessant craving. So when I wish for a beautiful home, when I wish for a beautiful car, when I wish for something, that wishing becomes a reality, and therefore I will be kept wishing for the rest of my life. I wish I get liberated. Guess what? Your desire is fulfilled, because Ganesha says tathastu. Why? Because you will be wishing forever that you will be liberated or you will attain nirvana. Because wishing becomes reality. Wanting becomes the reality. So stop wanting, stop craving, stop longing. And therefore Ganesha guides us. Actually, these two hands are protecting us from these two extremes, where because we are caught up in either one extreme or the other, he pulls us and helps us navigate through this It's a navigation, because eventually you rise above this. The only way to escape is to rise above duality. Dvandva atitam, gagana sadrisham, ekam, nityam, and therefore you attain the quality of the Guru that rises above duality. And then the sky is the limit, right? So what he does here as protection, as guiding, he puts a lasso when you crave too much, when you long too much. There is a lasso, and he says, stop craving, stop craving. Be content. The secret of fulfillment, the secret energy hidden within this powerful goddess Lakshmi is contentment. And in that contentment, we express gratitude. In that gratitude, there is a thankful heart. In that emotion of thankfulness and gratitude, we find fulfillment. And fulfillment, therefore, becomes a reality. And therefore, fulfillment after fulfillment after fulfillment comes in waves. And therefore, we experience abundance. That was the abundance of Shirdi Sai Baba, a modern saint who lived in a hut, and yet he was richer than the richest. That was the abundance of Ramana Maharishi, a great rishi in the early 19th century who lived in South India, who was just wearing a loin cloth, and yet he had the greatest of, richest of people coming and falling at his feet. That is abundance, because you're content. So with the lasso, he teaches us contentment. He pulls us back when we crave incessantly, when there is a longing, when there is an impulsion, extreme liking, extreme attachment, extreme craving. Pull back. On the other side is the other extreme: dislike, hatred, loathing, repulsion. I hate this taste. I hate this color. There is such an extreme judgment call on the other side. I hate that person. I cannot stand that thing. And when we create that, there's such a powerful emotion that is created that, guess what? Just like by wishing something incessantly, we attract that very wanting. When we hate something, we attract that object into our lives, that situation. The more I want to run away from a situation, the more that situation exists in our lives. The more I try to fight an illness, the more I try to get rid of something, that object, that situation just stays like the big elephant in the room. Try this when you're alone. You close your eyes and say, I do not want to think of an elephant. I do not want this elephant in my thoughts. I want this elephant to go away from my imagination. I don't want this elephant. I don't want this elephant in my mental imagery, in my visualizations. I don't want an elephant. Guess what happens? There is only the elephant. The subconscious mind does not understand grammar. And I mentioned this in one of the previous episodes as well. Whether you want it or you hate it, whether you like it or you dislike it, whether you're longing for it or you're loathing for it, the subconscious mind does not understand grammar. It is not analytical. It simply brings to fruition that which is empowered by the Pashyanti sound, by your emotions. And emotions come alive in these two extremes. When there is intense longing, there is an emotion of the lack of what you want, and therefore lack becomes reality. When you intensely loathe something, when you intensely hate something, when you intensely dislike something, that intensity, emotion again becomes intense, and that which you don't like actually stays in your subconscious, stays in its manifestation in our lives. And that's why when we decide to fight evil, when I want to get rid of negative thoughts, oh, let us get rid of negativity in the house, we say. You can never get rid of negativity, because when you are trying to get rid of negativity, you are creating negativity. Stop getting rid of negativity. See divinity. Be thankful for the omnipresent divine consciousness in every atom and every molecule. Understand there is no such thing as negative. And then what happens is we are able to guide our lives, guide our thoughts, guide our emotions, especially because that emotions is Pashyanti. At that Pashyanti level, if you've not watched that episode, please do, because that's one of the most important episodes. We create this emotional power that begins to manifest from these two extremes. And when we learn to guide ourselves, our thoughts, our words, our deeds between these two extremes, neither liking too much nor disliking too much, neither getting too attached nor getting too detached, neither running into something or running away from something. We maintain what is called samatvam. Samatvam, sama means equal. Samatvam yoga uchyate. That is the secret teaching of Gita. The true yoga is equanimity. With these two energies, with these two beautiful weapons, if you will, or guiding instruments, if you will, with the lasso on one hand and the ankusha on the other hand, Ganesha guides us to help us stay balanced. Thank you, as always, for watching. Stay blessed, stay inspired. This will be the final episode in the series. I know there are so many more symbols to understand and offer with Ganesha and every single deity is a powerful symbol. But for this series, this episode, this being the last day where we let go of Ganesha back into the ether, we understand as we send Ganesha back, having kept him for 10 days in our home, we send him back into the universe. The idea is we connect our subconscious to the universal mind. We had invoked Ganesha 10 days ago. We celebrated his presence in our consciousness, and now we connect our consciousness to the universal consciousness and thus tell him, go home and come back, Puducha, Varshi, Laukarya, Ganpati Pappa, Moria. So thank you, stay blessed, stay inspired, and let Ganesha from deep within our consciousness continue to guide us. And in that guidance, we help each other, we connect with each other. In that connection lies our oneness, and in that oneness lies love. Namaste.
Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha.